my name is John Bonjour. I am a comic artist and film enthusiast. I haven't done one of these in a little bit because, well, we haven't had a Marvel thing in a little bit. I also haven't done just like a straight down the barrel review in a hot minute, but Wonder Man is out on Disney Plus, and it is both a Marvel thing, which means I am legally obligated to review it because I've just watched all the Marvel things and I love them so much. They're not paying me, by the way. I know that's a whole thing that's going around. It's like, oh, this Marvel show's getting paid. No, they're not paying me. If they did pay me to review things, I wouldn't change my review, but I would accept their money, but they're not. And so I think that's worth noting. But also, it's really good and I want to talk about it because I think it's worth talking about, and I can't think of another place to fit this into my kind of video schedule. So here we are. Let's talk about Wonder Man. It is primarily directed and showrun by Destin Daniel Cretton, who did Shang-Chi and is now directed and will soon be releasing Spider-Man Brand New Day, a movie I'm very excited and nervous about. But Destin Daniel Cretton as a filmmaker is very quickly becoming maybe my favorite Marvel guy. There's a lot of people that Marvel has kind of brought in, the Russos, the Buffy guy. I can't think of his name. He's kind of a sicko. What is his... Wonder Man is tremendous. I loved this show. I think it is an absolute blast. What they present us with is so fun and engaging and just a great time and very different. People are saying a breath of fresh air. I don't think we needed a breath of fresh air, but it's like if you're in the mountains and you're breathing fresh air and you're like, oh, cool, still smells like mountain. This feels like a very different project from literally anything else. This has more in common with The Studio on Apple TV than it does with literally anything in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think that's wonderful. That is exactly the kind of thing that we should be doing with these TV shows. Like, Marvel TV should not feel like a Marvel movie kind of cut up into different pieces. This Loki, WandaVision, those are the kinds of things we need to be using these for. Even Ironheart, like that still has some semblance of the Marvel-iness to it, but it feels like its own thing. Anyway, I'm getting lost here. Wonder Man's a lot of fun. It is not without its problems, but it is a lot of fun, and I'm really happy that it exists, and I love it. I love that they put it out, and I love that it exists. I really haven't done one of these in a hot minute, but the way I normally do it is I go bad, good, and theory corner, and I have some stuff to say for all three. Getting the bad out of the way really quick. There is a thing about this show that I find mildly frustrating, and that's that it is extremely short. And I don't mean like the episodes are short, they feel like they're a good length. And I don't even mean that 8 episodes is too short to do anything with. I don't think that's inherently true. But the story that they cover feels like it needed more than 8 episodes to fully flesh out what they were doing. I feel the same way about the Fantastic Four movie as I do about this. Everything that we are given is really, really fun. There's just a little bit of stuff missing in between. And especially this highlights itself for me in Wonder Man when we literally get no story beats of them filming Wonder Man. There is, to my memory, and I watched it last night, so hopefully I remember it okay, I don't think we actually get to see them film any of the Wonder Man movie, which is kind of crazy because the show goes from starting the audition process to the movie being out. It just feels to me like there's a lot of story that could be told and a lot of character moments and important character pieces that could be shown from Simon getting this thing that matters to him. Also, I'm going to be spoiling the movie or the show. I should have told you that. To me, there is something so sad about not getting to experience, the whole point is that Simon Williams is trying so hard to become Wonder Man, and then he finally does, and we really don't engage with it for almost any of the show. And also, it kind of leaves out some of the things that he's been struggling with. One of the main struggles for Simon is that he gets so deep in the paint on these characters, and it would be really nice to see him ascend past that, grow past that. You can assume and infer that he does, but it's odd to me that the show doesn't give that to us. I don't want the vibe of this video to be they didn't show us that Simon Williams got powers, so how would we know that he has powers? That's a dumb way. I don't need to see literally everything. But if you're gonna finalize the arc of a character, if you're gonna have him overcome struggles, you sort of do have to show that. It has to be in the text of the thing. It feels a lot like between Infinity War and Endgame where Hulk is just like, so anyway, I figured out all my stuff and it's fine now and I'm good. Don't even worry about it. So the whole show, Simon has been struggling with getting too deep in the paint on a character and caring too much about his like notes and his sides and like what he's put into the character, and he's just a complete dickwad on set because he's like so specific about the craft of his art. In that like one scene that we see him like about to shoot American Horror Story, which is a great character, like him learning to let people in and accept that like, hey, this is part of it, and accept himself and accept the art of it all. That's all very good, but the fact that we don't get to see that, like we don't see him struggle with any of that on the Wonder Man set is kind of frustrating to me. That feels like something that's missing from the show. I think in the same way, like the brother character, there is absolutely something to the idea that this Simon is so reserved and he doesn't believe in himself enough, and he doesn't believe that anyone else would love him enough. He doesn't think he's deserving of love enough, that when the brother character is given the opportunity to tear him down, he just assumes that he will, because why wouldn't he? And then he ends up not. Like that, there's something to that. The problem is the characterization of the brother character is very much, in one scene he is good brother and in other scene he is bad brother. It's not really like an arc for him to be like, he doesn't grow from anything. Like the last time, okay, plotting out the brother's arc at the party is like, Simon, you're a failure, you should quit and work for a real job, do a real job like a boy would. At the end of that party, Simon gets upset and he explodes their new kitchen table that they're so excited about. Then the next thing we hear from him is that he was interviewed for this huge major article. That's when Simon's like, well, obviously he's gonna, tear me a new one. Like he's gonna light me on fire and burn me to the ground, no pun intended. And then we find out that he had nothing but good things to say, which is this very fun bait and switch and interesting thing. And then the next time we see the brother, he's like, Simon, I'm really proud of you and you're doing a really good job. And it's like, that feels like there's something kind of missing from that. Like it feels like we're missing a conversation where Simon goes back and he's like, why didn't you do this? Like why didn't you tell them all these horrible things about me? And the brother's like, because I care about you, dude. Again, a thing that is like, you can infer, you can figure out from the subtext of the show, but it does kind of feel like it's missing. It feels like there's a few episodes. Like if this was a 12 episode series, it would make a lot more sense, I think, and we'd get to engage with a lot of these things that feel like they're kind of missing. It's this strange thing where it's like a swipe or no swiping. If you call it out, Marvel will very quickly be like, yeah, we should have put that in, I guess. Like we saw it a lot with Daredevil Born Again season 1, where things would come out, like the show would come out, and we'd be like, doesn't that feel like it was from a different show? And they're like, oh yeah, it was a completely different show. That is my major complaint, is that it goes a little too fast and it feels like it covers a lot of ground by just skipping some very important ground. But that does bring me to the things that I think work really, really well about Wonder Man, and that is most importantly, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is just phenomenal as Simon Williams. He is a great Wonder Man. He's a great version of this character. I think he's given a very interesting arc, the idea of like being so closed off and so shut off that he's just a complete dick, and then learning to accept people, learning to accept criticism and to accept creative feedback, and also to accept human people into his life that might care about him. Even though he's not great at it, I think it's very interesting to watch him like learn to do that and develop as a character. That's a good arc, to the point that he like takes risks in his career and in his person for Slattery at the end of the show. I think that is a solid end for his character in this show. And if they never made a season 2, this is a well-rounded story arc for the character. Again, skipping some bits and pieces, but the story arc overall, very solid. I think in the same way, Trevor Slattery, Ben Kingsley, is wonderful. He's always been really good in this role, and I think he's been a lot of fun. He was very menacing in in Iron Man 3, and he was a lot of fun in Shang-Chi, and this feels like his opportunity to kind of tie those two things together in a really fun way, in a way that feels cohesive and genuine, and also the way that he reclaims the Mandarin persona of it all. It's really cool. It's a very, very natural, good ending to his character to reclaim that for the good of someone else, because he's always been a little bit selfish and a little bit self-serving and more about the art than the person. And then he finally realizes that, hey, my career is behind me, yours is ahead of you. I care about Simon, like he cares about this new friend that he's made, and he feels responsible. He can make it right by doing the thing that everyone hated him for, but for the right reasons. I think that is a great end to that character. He is also broken out of prison at the end of the show, so who knows? Maybe if they do another season, maybe he'll be a part of it, and I would love it if he was back in this. Their dynamic is so fun together. They play off of each other really well. They're also just both very good actors and bringing a lot to the table in terms of the character pieces. And the fact that I'm saying all of this about a Marvel show is really cool. The fact that this isn't a big beat 'em up, there's no big final action set piece. There isn't almost any use of Simon's powers. Like, it's very, very minimal. And I really like that. It feels like it sets him up to be a very interesting character. You know, it's a weird thing because he's not at all a superhero in this show, but I could fully see them bringing him in later and him being a superhero. He could be the kind of Johnny Cage of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, he could be the guy that is an actor and also just sometimes does a Mortal Kombat. That could be the vibe that he's bringing. I can already see him entering some kind of big fight and people being like, isn't that Simon Williams, the guy who plays Wonder Man, being Wonder Man? Like, that's a fun dynamic that I hope they get to play with in something else. I know this is a Marvel Spotlight thing, so there's a chance that Wonder Man just literally never shows up again. But I hope that that's not true, because I think it would be a lot more interesting to play with that dynamic, especially when Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is so just absurdly good at playing this guy. Also, the Doorman episode, crazy. It balances a really weird tone of like kind of spooky and kind of hilarious. The idea of how does a film set work in the Marvel universe, and the idea that people would immediately embrace someone with superpowers and then treat him as a commodity and then throw him away, and when it all goes wrong they would be like, never again. That is a very interesting story, and I like that the episode kind of plays on its own. I did think that he was going to come back in the end, and maybe that's on me for assuming that, but I thought when we were doing the prison break thing and Simon is like, oh, we're not going out the door, I thought Doorman was going to show up, and it's not like better or worse that he didn't. It just was, I was intrigued that that didn't happen, and it kind of made that episode feel a little bit more like a bottle specific, just sort of express a piece of the universe instead of being an important part of the story. But we'll get to a theory that I have about that as we sort of go on. But yeah, the Doorman episode, really, really fun. I haven't looked up the guy who plays Doorman. I really should. He's extremely fun and very charismatic in that role. And also, like, I think he killed Josh Gad. And hey, look, I don't always like Josh Gad. I think there's a lot of things that he's not great in. I have to give him this, though. Every performance that he's ever given, he is committed 100% to. Overall, Wonder Man is just a really tremendously fun show. I hope that it gets another season. I hope they do more of this, or get to my theory, I hope that they do something else with the character. I just hope we see him again, because this is such a fun character, such a fun performance, and a really well thought out show that looks like a show. Also, it just visually looks like a piece of filmmaking, which is really nice. It's nice to see. I really, really liked Wonder Man, even though I wish there was a little bit more to it. I wish that they had fleshed out some things. What they gave us is very, very fun, and I'd rather, I think, have a thing that makes you think about it and stay engaged than a thing like Tron Ares that explains literally everything about itself to you because you're an idiot. Before we get to my theory corner, this is not like an actual criticism of the show, but it just feels like in every episode that hello? This is he. This is Destin Daniel Cretton right now on my phone. Cool. Wow. Shoot. Okay, well, this is topical, but it's going to feel a lot like criticism, and I don't mean it that way, and I hope you hear this. Wonder Man, saw it, loved it. Thank you for making it. Great show. You did a great job. Also, Shang-Chi, saw it, loved it. Watch it quite a lot. I mean, more than... I'm getting off track. You're right. Thank you, Destin. Can I call you Destin? I'll call you Dusty? You sure? Wow. Okay. I was actually making a video about your show, Wonder Man, yeah. And it was just like... No, I did like it. I liked it a lot. It's not all criticism. You just happened to catch me right at the end of... Like, I was just explaining... I was even saying to the camera, like, it's not really a... Okay, my point is, it's just like... Phones go off a lot in the show, you know what I mean? And like phones are ringing quite a bit, and they're all buzzing, and the Foley work for the buzz I don't know if it was like my speaker, but it really did make me think my personal business phone was going off like 3 or 4 times an episode. I get that that's not your fault. I'm not saying it's a fault. It's not a fault thing. I was literally saying it's not a criticism. It's just no, Dusty. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Cretin. Well, thanks for calling. I didn't mean it like that, man. They just go off a lot, you know? Okay, all right. No, yeah, thanks. Okay. Yeah, I would love to go to the Spider-Man premiere. Thank you. I appreciate you reaching out. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll send you my email. Can I go back to calling you Destin? Huge. Thank you. I love you too. Okay, bye. Sorry about that. Gosh, I don't remember what I was saying. Well, let's go into Theory Corner anyway. Now that I've got my thoughts and feelings of Wonder Man out of the way, quick theory, and it's not even a theory, it's just a thing that I want them to do. West Coast Avengers would be such a fun show. I don't think it needs to be a movie. I think it would be a tremendously fun show if you got She-Hulk, Shang-Chi, Wonder Man, Doorman, and that's my theory. I think if you bring Doorman into the West Coast Avengers, because he was a West Coast Avenger at one point, do it like Defenders, but, you know, good. Bringing all 4 of them into a room together would be so much fun. You could even bring Cassie Lang from the Ant-Man movies. I think this would be just a tremendous time. I want to see them do that. I don't know what the pitch would be. Nando V Movies, you know, can get on that. Point being, a West Coast Avengers show with all of those characters would be so much fun, and I would watch the holy hell out of it. What did you think of Wonder Man? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't seen it, you should definitely go check it out. It's a breezy, fun watch. Thank you so much for watching this video and checking out my channel. If you'd like to hear more of my thoughts on movies, comics, TV shows, anything of the like, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and comment down below what you'd like me to review next, or do none of those things because I am not your dad.